The first story I want to talk about is the very strange murder of Black Lives Matter activist Muhiyidin Moye. I'm sorry, I know I'm butchering his first name, but I really apologize for that. But I want to speak on his assassination or his murder, and I want to speak on Medgar Evers, because I said on Wednesday that for Black History Month, every live stream, I'm going to talk about another figure from Black history. And so on Wednesday, I spoke on W.E.B. Du Bois. I want everybody to go check out that video that I did. It's on my YouTube channel. I really broke that down for about 30 minutes. I broke down his to the best of my ability, his legacy, which is so long. I don't think you can really do that in 30 minutes. But I hit on some important topics when it came to Du Bois. So, I focused on him on Wednesday, and today I want to touch on Medgar Evers, but that's going to be the last thing I talk about. The first thing that I want to touch on is, like I said, the murder of Muhiyidin Moye, who was shot and killed in New Orleans. He was a young brother. He was 32 years old, 2 years older than I am. And he was found dead in New Orleans very recently. And reports say that a police officer found Moye on the ground bleeding and asking for help after the police officer, and this is, again, according to reports, this is what they're saying. Okay. They're saying the officer, found him bleeding on the ground, and he was responding to a call about gunfire in the area early in the morning, in the early hours of Tuesday morning. So this happened, like I said, this happened very recently. This happened back, on Tuesday, on the 6th. And this is, like I said, according to a police report. And so this was around 1 to 1:30 in the morning. And the police report said Moye was found in a predominantly residential street, or on a predominantly residential street, in front of a car repair shop in the city's Gravier neighborhood. It noted there was a blood trail to the body which circled 2 blocks, and a bloody bicycle, lay across the street. So there was a bloody bicycle across the street from where Moye's body was found, but he wasn't dead when the police officer found him. He was. The reporting says that Moye was shot in the thigh, so he was shot in the leg at around 1 to 1:30, and later pronounced dead in the hospital. I want to say the article I read said that his relatives were made aware of his death at around 9 to 9:30 in the morning. And the hospital said that he died due to excessive blood loss. So, we're not being given the whole story. That's first and foremost. To the extent that there is an investigation going on, which, I'm assuming there is. My hopes that they're going to find the culprits behind this, whoever they may be, those hopes are very small. There have been multiple men within the Black Lives Matter movement who have been found murdered in recent years. That the murder of well-known representatives of the movement, people who have been publicly associated with Black Lives Matter, that they continue to be killed and their murders are not being solved, tells you that these are not isolated incidents, and it just continues the trend of black people, black death, not being taken seriously. This is not related to this story, but I remember watching that show about the deaths of Biggie and Tupac, and they were even talking about how, I want to say, the Las Vegas Police Department had certain evidence that we, like the public, we didn't really even know about until a lot of this stuff started coming out recently. Like I'm of the opinion that they know who killed Tupac and Biggie, but the cases remain unsolved because you have these elements within law enforcement across the nation. They just don't care. And in some cases, I'm not saying this is what happened with Moye, but in some cases, you don't know if you have elements within law enforcement that are involved. You don't know if you have elements within law enforcement that have information or that gave away information about certain high-level individuals, and they gave away information to the people who would eventually kill them. And in order to cover up their involvement, they just don't do proper investigating because they don't want to expose the criminals within their own ranks. You don't know what's going on a lot of times. You really don't. So I don't like my faith in the people who are supposed to be investigating this. My faith in them is so shot right now, and it's so low that I just don't. I don't know what's gonna happen. I hope the murderer, like I said, whoever that person may be, I hope they're brought to justice. But we know the history of stuff like this. We know how stuff like this usually plays out. I'm doing this show early because you guys know I usually do this show around 12 o'clock, and I'm doing it early because of plans that I've made. So I have to do it 30 minutes ahead of time in order for my plans to really work out. So because I want to follow through with agreements that I've made with people already. So that's that story, and it's really tragic, and because you really get the sense that the COINTELPRO tactics of the 60s. Well, we already know the COINTELPRO tactics of the 60s are back. They're back in full effect, and quite frankly, they never went anywhere. They never went away. But after that whole BIE report from a few months ago, we now know for a fact that no, it's definitely on. It's definitely on and popping, as they say in the street. So, we just have to be aware of the fact that the people who do this work the most, especially the people who are out there in front of cameras, okay, it's not easy. It's really not. Don't think that. Which is why I've never participated in a lot of the BLM smearing that goes on. I'm not even talking about the right wingers who do it, but I'm even talking about people in our own community who try to throw shade on BLM. I don't participate in that. I don't participate in that, and I do it specifically because of things like this. Okay, because I'm not gonna sit here and participate in the smearing of people who are putting their lives on the line, and a lot of people who in our community who are attacking them. A lot of y'all are just sitting behind keyboards. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't co-sign that. Like you can have criticisms of organizations. I'm not saying any organization is beyond criticism. Okay, but that's a fight that I'm not involving myself with. So you'll never hear me I'm definitely not gonna push some BS George Soros conspiracy. Okay, the only people you hear pushing that BS, and I'm not using the actual words because I'm trying to watch my language today. I'm not going to participate in that because the only people you hear pushing those false arguments the most are right wingers and are members of the alt-right and the alt-right conspiracy theorists. And like I said before, and I did this in my show about black collaborators. I did this in my show about how people within the community need to be careful about nativist arguments. I refuse to be parallel to anything that involves white supremacists and alt-right types, and that includes smearing Black Lives Matter, which way too many people within our community have apparently bought into white supremacist propaganda against a group started by black people. So, if that's what some of y'all want to do, go right ahead and do it. that's not something I'm going to be associated with. And like I said, it's because of stories like this. You know, if you have a problem with BLM, I suggest you guys who are critical of them do something better. Yeah, but sitting online and smearing these groups, in comment sections and things like that. And that's if half of you guys are actually even black. Like, that's something else. Like, some of these people who come into the comment sections of black content creators smearing Black Lives Matter, and you're not sure, you don't have your face, and you're claiming you're black. I don't even know if some of y'all are even black for real. Because we already know there are people online trying to play black and trying to be pretend black, and you later find out some of these people are bots, and they're white supremacists themselves, or they're Russian. I don't know who some of these people are, but just be mindful of some of these people you see online who are trying to get you to make these very questionable arguments about black people and about other groups of oppressed people. So I'm gonna end that there. So just, pray for his family, and if you want to give to any sort of GoFundMe or any sort of crowdfunding campaign, just make sure the people organizing that campaign and organize that GoFundMe are the actual members of his family, and not people trying to exploit this brother's death for their own financial gain.